I Know What You Did Last Summer was one of the biggest movies of the massive wave of successful horror movies in the late 90s. This wave also included films such as Scream and The Blair Witch Project. All three of these actually had a sequel. However, the only one of these sequels that was actually considered a worthy follow-up to the original was the Scream sequels. Book of Shadows Blair Witch 2 is considered by many to be one of the worst sequels of all time. In fact, it won the worst remake or sequel award at the 2001 Razzie Awards. I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream, and The Blair Witch Project all had sequels that were released roughly a year after the original. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is probably the laziest out of all of these sequels. I like the original. It's far from perfect, but it's a fun 90s teen slasher movie. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is ridiculously bad. Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. both return in the movie. They're the only returning thing from the first movie except for the producers. The plot is about as forced as it could possibly be. Jennifer Love Hewitt's character Julie is having nightmares about the events of the previous movie. Of course, this is only referenced once, so it really holds no purpose at all. She is very jumpy and she's afraid of the killer returning and attacking her. Her friend Carla is randomly called by a radio show and they tell her that if she answers a question correctly, they'll win a trip to the Bahamas. They get the question right or wrong as is revealed later, and they go there. They go with Carla's boyfriend and Julie's friend Will because Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character Ray lies about not being able to go. When they get to the Bahamas, they find out the storm season is about to start and that they will be stuck on the island for a few days with only a few other people there. Of course, they then start getting killed off by the killer from the previous movie. Ray then has to try and get to the island and save them. The film is horrendous. I mean, there is close to nothing redeemable about the movie whatsoever. The script is terrible, forced, and incredibly lazy. Everything that happens is just incredibly convenient, and there are too many plot holes to count. The film is also incredibly predictable. There isn't a single scare that you can't see coming from a mile away. There is also a big plot twist that I wasn't surprised about at all. If you've seen Scream, you can instantly guess what the plot twist is. The acting for the most part is actually pretty good. Not everyone is great, but still is better than it should be. Jennifer Love Hewitt is probably the show stealer in this movie. She was also really good in the original, but she's almost just as good and maybe even better in this film. However, there are some really bad performances, and it hurts me to say this, but probably the worst person in the film is Jack Black. Yep, Jack Black is not only in this movie, but not very good. He tries to be his normal comedic self and it really fails. I've seen him do dramatic performances before and he is fantastic at it. He's one of my favourite actors of the last 20 years. However, he sucks in this film. He plays the really annoying, pointless comic relief of the film. His death scene is really bad and he sounds like he's trying not to laugh. He does look like he's having a hell of a fun time throughout the movie, so I can't fault him for that. But a movie that makes me hate Jack Black is a movie that should not exist. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Nacho Libre. The film was directed by Danny Cannon, whose most notable directing effort is the terrible Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd movie. If it was the amazing 2012 Dredd movie, I would have been a bit more accepting, but no. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is a culmination of everything wrong about 90s horror sequels. It's stupid, predictable, and incredibly unscary. Don't watch this if you're a fan of the original. Don't watch this even if you're curious to see what it's all about. Just avoid, avoid, avoid. I give I Still Know What You Did Last Summer a 3.5 out of 10.